First, let's set the stage this way. Some 6,000 years ago, there was a matrilineal society where women held the reins of power. This patriarchal society, this male-dominated, fear-based society in which we live today, we've only been in it for 5,000 years. We tend to think of this as our whole life. You know, we know the systems, we know the banking, we know industry, we know media, you know, that this is always the way it's been, but that's far from the truth. We used to live in a society where we didn't even understand how children came into being. We didn't get the connection that 9 months before the birth of the child there was a man involved, right? Sex was a much freer thing. The children were born, they were raised in community, generally by the men. Because if you scan a man, if you take away all the patriarchal conditioning of a man and all the patriarchal conditioning of women, a man's intrinsic spiritual essence is his heart, and a woman's spiritual essence is power. This is why most men, when they step onto the spiritual path, when they begin to say, there's got to be something more, why am I here? Then they step onto a path of bhakti yoga, which is the yoga of love and devotion, the yoga of the heart. And eventually they graduate into the study of jnana yoga, spelled with a J. It's a Hindu word, these are Hindu terms. And jnana means discrimination. Jnana is the reconciliation of all opposites coming into balance. So it is for the man or the woman who studies it, the transcendence of even the highest vibration that we can experience within the human context, going beyond that into the clear light, into the void, into that silence that we were experiencing before. All of the yogas can be practiced by anyone and should be. We should be familiar with all of the yogas. But a man's propensity for the heart starts him on the path and leads him to jnana yoga, where he can transcend and enlighten himself. A woman, on the other hand, when she begins her spiritual practice, usually chooses the yoga of karma, which is service, because we know how to get things done from here, right? So it's service to the guru, to the teachings, to humanity. It's Mother Teresa, service to the community, to the sick, right? It's women in Texas helping those who came from Katrina after that disaster. That's karma yoga. But then the woman graduates to study power, pure power. That's mysticism. Mysticism is the study of the mechanics of the way power or energy works. By power, we just mean life force, chi, energy. We're not talking about power as it is expressed in the patriarchy, power over, force. This is a bastardization of power. Power really comes from silence, and it is not of us, but it moves through us, and it can be wielded with the balance of the heart. Women are intrinsically brilliant at this, and this is why they make the best leaders. This is why they led in the matrilineal age, and it is why they will lead in the new age, the new paradigm in consciousness that is coming. We will be resuming our roles as spiritual leaders and community leaders. We're moving into the heart, right? It's been a progression. Mother Earth has been going through a progression. First, we were at the caveman time when we were just trying to learn to survive. Then we moved up in the matrilineal era to make discoveries about birth and creativity. Now we've moved up in the patriarchy to the navel chakra, where we're enduring lessons about power. And women specifically handed off the reins of power to men because they knew if they did not, we knew if we did not give the reins of power to men and allow them to have all of the learnings that come with that, including abuse of power, that most of them would never be able to ascend into the heart. We knew collectively, and we made a decision to do this. This is the seeing that to me was the most significant in unplugging the patriarchy that we had in our collaboration. It shifted everything, because you can no longer consider yourself a victim. By the end of the day, we need to understand that this is our gift from the patriarchy. We signed up for this, and that learning is complete. Now all we have to do is own it, to go in and look at the residues of energy that remain from these bastardizations and clear them here, and we are home free to stand in our power and to help humanity do the same. Yeah. So we handed off these reins of power, and we probably knew that they were going to make a mess of it. And indeed,
I was thinking that about my kids.
yeah, they have exceeded all expectations. I don't think that any of us knew that it would get quite this out of control. But it is very much like the mother. It's a good analogy. We have a lot of little boys playing in a sandbox, and really they are waiting. They are desperate for mother to walk out on the porch and do this. Right? Mother doesn't have to say anything. When she walks out on the back porch and does this, they know, right? And this is what I mean by women standing in their power. This is my kind of slogan that I operate on. I don't mean women standing for something. I don't mean women standing against something, not opposing the patriarchy, not even standing for reform, which doesn't mean that we don't stand for reform and we don't go out and march and protest and we don't work with NGOs or we don't work in our community against, abuse of women. It doesn't mean that. I'm talking on an energetic, spiritual level, that there is a place of balance between for and against, and we need to come to rest there within ourselves. We need to be able to say, I am willing to clear this, so this can be a pure channel, so this can connect with the power of the earth and the power of Mother Divine, and I can allow myself to be used to express whatever gifts I am here to give humanity at this time. Because we all know we have them, and we all know that it's time. Yeah. We're in this precarious position where we have one foot in the patriarchal world and one foot in the new world. And it's a balancing act. And it's not going to be easy to get through, especially as it really starts to unwind. But this is once again, as we said before, what we have signed up for. This is the good news and the bad news.